believe it's a lost season at this point, either for the team or for yourself?
Well, I'll answer the first one as a lost season. No, I never think like you're out of the fight.
What up, Falcons Nation? Rise Up Nation. It's your boy, Jazzy Jeff. Real talk, no gimmicks. Bringing that real Falcons talk to real Falcons fans. And I got a lot to say, so I'm going to try to break it down in 3 different segments. I'm first going to talk about the Falcons fan base. Then I'm going to talk about the game versus the Rams. Then I'm going to talk about the Falcons' future moving forward. Now, the Falcons fan base. I believe that how you handle adversity is the true test of someone's character. The composure under fire. And I feel like the more the team loses, the more they lose their composure, the more the Falcons in return also lose their composure, also lose their spirit, start saying things that are inaccurate or just flat out ignorant, whatever it is. And I just want to address some of those things. I feel like there's this war going on because I just started Twitter this year. And I've already noticed this dissension in Falcons Nation. And it's a bunch of groups of people. You have people who think the Falcons always suck, and no matter what we do, we just suck, and I hate them, but I'm going to keep watching them. We have people who think nothing's wrong, everything's just gravy, and we'll be fine, and we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. We have people who say their opinion, and they get attacked for it, personal attacks by other Falcons fans. We're attacking each other because because the Falcons are losing these games. And I felt like it goes hand in hand with how the game played out. You saw Devontae Freeman lost his composure, and he's trying to fight a 300-pound man, and he's like 5'9", like 180. The constant back and forth. Devondre Campbell's on social media, and he's going after fans, and fans are going after him, and people are tagging players. And I feel like we have to keep our composure. These are the hard times. These are when you know who the real Falcons fans are. There's ones who disappear. There's ones who stick around. There's ones who are going to bitch and whine. There's ones who are going to tell Falcons Nation lies. There's ones who are just going to say just flat out ignorant stuff. I had one guy tell me if we had a mobile quarterback, we would have won the Super Bowl. And I'm like, do you not know that we have Michael Vick and he did not get us nowhere near where Matt Ryan got us? I have other people saying, oh my God, Matt Schaub threw that touchdown pass. Matt Ryan couldn't do that in the game. Matt Schaub was playing against backups. The Rams pulled their starters. And he just came in the game out of relief. If Matt Schaub was playing in the beginning, he would have got killed worse than Matt Ryan did. There's people who are saying trade Matt Ryan, trade Julio, just scrap the whole damn thing, start over. And I just want to remind people, there is objectivity, there is biased pie in the sky, lying to people. There is negativity where you just make up stuff to hate on people. And I just pray, and my wish is that Falcons Nation, we become a more unified, cohesive fan base, and we stick around through the hard times because that is the test of our fan base. How are we going to have the media and other teams or other fans or whatever be knowledgeable about our team or respect our team if we don't even respect our team? Now, respect is different than holding people accountable. I will never sit back and not speak my mind on what I'm actually seeing. When guys are sucking, I'm going to tell them they suck. But let's not lose sight of the reality. Once you go beyond reality, you've lost me, and I don't know how to talk to some of those Falcons fans, and that's something I want to work on because some of them are just misinformed. Some of them are just so angry and jaded they think nothing ever good is going to happen, and some of them just they believe in crazy stuff that I just don't understand. So I sometimes just don't like what I see on Twitter. It makes me sick, and I see why people get sick of Twitter. And I just wish Falcons Nation, we stick together. we be honest with ourselves. We don't cut each other down just because we have differences of opinion. I can tell someone, hey, that's your opinion. Here are the facts. If you still don't like my facts, then, have a nice day. But I'm not going to tear someone down or rip someone else up because they have a different opinion or tell someone how to think or feel. I believe most Falcons fans out here, we're grown men. You going to tell another grown man how he should think and feel about his own team? You going to try to be the judge and executioner about what you think is a real Falcons fan or not? That's bullshit. Don't ever let someone else tell you how to feel about your own team. They don't know what's inside your heart. They don't know your intentions. And I guarantee you wouldn't want someone telling you how to feel. So I'm just going to leave that part up about Falcons Nation. And let's get through these hard times. It can't rain forever. The sunshine is going to shine one day again. That could be 2020. That could be 2021. But the dedication is sticking through that ride, holding the team accountable because you want them to do better. Now, we're going to pause that for here, and we're going to go into this Falcons-Rams game because I saw a lot of stuff that is still disturbing. All right, now let's get into the actual game itself and the things that went wrong and what I saw. This wasn't one of those games where you can say, oh, the defense was just awful and the offense was good. This wasn't one of those games where you could say, oh, the offense was awful, but the defense was good. This wasn't one of those games where you can say the players tried hard and the coach did a decent job. I think across the board, we were fucking atrocious. Now, let's start with the defense. We still had 0 sacks against Jared Goff. So, 3 games in a row, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, 0 sacks. That is absolutely embarrassing. We still currently have 5 sacks on the season. The last time we had a sack was week 3 when I drove to Indianapolis to watch us lose to the Colts. That's the last time we had a sack. Clay Matthews has 6 sacks, and he didn't even play last week, and he still has more sacks than us, our entire team. Time of possession. I believe the Rams held the ball 37 minutes. What does that tell you? Our defense cannot get off the field. And if you're going to blame penalties, you can't even blame penalties because we actually had the same amount of penalties. We both had 5 penalties roughly for the same amount of yardage. I am still seeing these soft cover zones that are just allowing guys to run free. When I watch other teams, I watch for other teams that play zone. I watch for other teams that play 3-4. And I've noticed that when they play zone, it's nowhere near what we play. The cushion that we give, that just shows me that guys aren't coached enough. They aren't skilled enough. They don't execute enough. They don't know where to stand. Part of that is we are really young and we forced Isaiah Oliver to start right away. But that's no excuse for some of the veteran players I am seeing. You can't even say, oh, it's because Trufant was out, because even when Trufant was in, he was doing the same exact type of things. If Grady Jarrett can't get off his double team, we get no penetration and the secondary suffers from it. I'm even starting to see guys like Deion Jones not being as good as the potential he has to be because he doesn't have running mates with him to help him out when things go bad. Losing Keanu O'Neal was a huge deal because the drop-off is so far. Camille Ishmael gets owned every game by tight ends when he plays. And it's just something you don't see when Keanu O'Neal is in the game. What else? The first half points are we're one of the worst. We are now officially the worst pass defense in the entire NFL. Interceptions, we are dead last. Sacks, we are dead last. Passing yards allowed, we are dead last. Touchdowns allowed, we are dead last. Put that in perspective. People laugh at the Miami Dolphins. We have a worse defense than the Miami Dolphins. Now, overall team, we're better than Miami Dolphins, but just defense alone, we are worse than the Miami Dolphins. So that is beyond That is beyond execution. That is beyond X's and O's. That is beyond scheming. It's the personnel and it's the coaching. Another thing when I talk about coaching, I was watching the Patriots game the other day. Patriots are up 24-0 on the Jets. Bill Belichick is still on the sideline, huddled up with the defense, and he's yelling at them, coaching them, and he's looking at the clipboard, and he's pointing at plays and explaining things to them. Do we ever see that from Dan Quinn? Whether we're up or down, do we ever see that from Dan Quinn? The answer is no. You hardly ever see Dan Quinn down there really talking to the guys and drilling home the point of what we're supposed to be doing. It's a few comments here and there, and then he'll just walk off. I pay attention to this stuff to see what a good coach looks like. And Bill Belichick is that guy. That's another thing I see that bothers me so much about Dan Quinn. He gives all these speeches, and we're going to work all hard, but when it's game day, he barely looks at players. He barely wants to break down and sit with them and talk about it. I've seen our linebacking coaches do it. I've seen our special teams coaches do it. I don't see Dan Quinn doing it like Bill Belichick does it. So that's another reason why our defense is struggling, because our coaching style is not good enough. Now let's go to the offense. The offense looked pitiful. We were, I believe, 3rd and 12 on 3rd down conversions. That is absolutely awful. Matt Ryan's blocking got him injured. There's one clip on Twitter that went viral, and it shows 4 defensive linemen on the Rams hitting Matt Ryan at the same time, and there's no offensive linemen or guards in sight. That shows you how bad our offensive line is. Dirk Carter's play calling and the involvement of players is so inconsistent. Austin Hooper is one of the best tight ends in the NFL right now. He didn't get targeted until, I believe, the 3rd quarter. Now, our offense is struggling. Why are we throwing to other people when Hooper is the best safety blanket you can have when this defense is playing so aggressively? And we couldn't block anybody. Now, one of the things I will say, and I'll give a pass to, is Caleb McGrary is a rookie, and he's going to go through his growing pains. On Sunday, it was the wrong day for him to learn against Dante Fowler Jr. That man had, I believe, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and like 2 tackles for losses. He by himself had more sacks than our entire team. So, Caleb, that's a great experience. You're going to learn from that, and he's going to get better. I believe he's going to get better. I think McGrary is actually a solid guy. So, we talk about objectivity. Let me pay my respects to Caleb McGrary. I apologize for things I said in the past. The more I see you, the more I think you will grow into a better guard. Excuse me. Devontae Freeman completely losing his composure because we can't get no run game going. We didn't even attempt enough runs to get something going. Then we lost Ito to a concussion, so he wasn't even playing. Brian Hill's just coming in. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. So Devontae Freeman just didn't have a good game, and they looked out of it. Calvin Ridley played a decent game. Julio did what he could. Sanu wasn't involved a lot, and maybe that had something to do with why he got traded. Maybe they already knew the writing was on the wall that he was going to go, so they didn't want to play him a lot to expose him. But the blocking is still an issue. Our inconsistent play calls. One day you want to feed Austin Hooper. Next day you want to just ignore him. One day you want to ignore Calvin Ridley. Next day you want to see him go off. One day you want to run Devontae Freeman. Next day you don't want to run at all, and you want to have Matt Ryan drop back 37 times when he's getting cracked in the mouth. Those play calling is just atrocious, and we got to get those things fixed if we want to win games in the future. The defense is the most alarming thing to me, but for this game and this game only, everything was bad. If you look at a majority of the season, the defense is the main problem. But for this game specifically, everything we did was bad. We get off slow starts. We get penalties. We just set ourselves up for failure constantly. And you cannot blame the rest. I understand that we had one bad call, and that was with Foye on the full body weight roughing the passer. That was absolute BS. He had a perfect form tackle, and Jared Goff still had the ball in his hands when Foye hit him. But we can't blame the refs for this game because we played absolutely atrocious and we got manhandled. And obviously, I showed you some of the clips that also really bothered me in my intro. So those things I wanted to highlight on, and we got to get those things fixed moving forward. Now, I next want to touch on the future of the Atlanta Falcons moving forward, whether it's this season or next year. Now, what I like to talk about is the Falcons' future moving forward and what I would want them personally to do to get us back on track. And what I call following the Green Bay Packers model. Now you say, Jazzy Jeff, why would you pick the Green Bay Packers to follow their model? Because the Green Bay Packers have a similar situation than what we had, but they took their situation and made it a fortunate one. And what I mean by that is they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think we have a Hall of Fame quarterback. They didn't have a run game. We didn't have a run game. They didn't have a defense. We didn't have a defense. They had a bad offensive line and got Aaron Rodgers sacked and hurt. We have a bad offensive line, and Matt Ryan has been now hurt, and he's been sacked a lot. If you recall, just a year ago, Aaron Rodgers was getting injured, was separated collarbone, I believe. The line couldn't protect him. They couldn't run. They were getting scored on left and right. And now look at them. What are they, like 6-1 now? And all it took was 1 year of dedicating the draft and free agency to retooling the defense. The Packers' first round pick, Zaire Alexander, cornerback. Second pick, Josh Jackson, cornerback. Third pick, Olin Brooks, linebacker. Then they went with an offensive lineman. Then they went back to a wide receiver. Another need they had, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. How's that turning out? He's a pretty decent player. Then they had Equanimeous St. Brown, another decent wide receiver backup. And then in free agency, they went out and we're aggressive, and they got Zadarius Smith, linebacker. They got Preston Smith, linebacker. So when you take a defensive free agency and you're aggressive, you take a draft that's centered around retooling the defense, and you sprinkle in a little offensive lineman in your draft, and now look at the Green Bay Packers. They protect Aaron Rodgers. Their defense is almost one of the best defenses in the NFL. They can stop people, so when Aaron Rodgers gets 3 and outs, he doesn't have to worry about his defense giving up plays. Their run game is a little improved, much improved actually, because they also sprinkle in a little offensive lineman, and they got Aaron Jones to play to his capabilities. And they are not just stat padding teams anymore. They play to win. And I think the Falcons can do exactly this model. If we just stop bargain diving for average to below average guys in free agency, and we actually took 2 stabs at great free agents, and we had a draft centered around straight up defense for the first 3 rounds and then sprinkle in some offensive linemen because we need that, we can be back to being competitive again. There's no reason we can't. And this is where I want the Falcons to go. Also, the Green Bay Packers made it a point to get rid of old, aging, bad contracts for veteran players they had, like Clay Matthews. There was another veteran, I can't remember his name, but they got rid of him as well. I want the Falcons to do the exact same thing. Just like with Mohamed Sanu, we just traded him for a second-round pick. Trade the Vic Beasley of the world. Trade Devontae Freeman. Trade Devontae Campbell. Get rid of Camille Ishmael. Guys like that. And take those picks, stockpile them, and retool this defense. It only took the Packers 1 year, 1 offseason to turn it around. And that's what I want the Falcons to do. Tell me in the comment section below if you agree with this or you think, Jazzy Jeff, that sounds crazy or whatever. Always comment, like, share, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And as always, Falcons Nation, we rise up.